Hey, what's going on, everyone? Today, we've got a super fun lesson. It's pretty short, but it's a really great way to allude to the future. Again, just to be clear, it's not the future tense, but rather a way to talk about what you're going to do, for example. And so it's a great way to do that before formally learning what we call the future tense in Spanish. So today, we're going to have a look at what we call ir más a más infinitivo. Ir más a más infinitivo, or ir plus a plus infinitive. And so let's have a look at this. And again, the translation for it is going to, and then whatever your infinitive will be. And so remember, an infinitive is an unconjugated verb. And this is really great because you can, in just knowing the infinitive, not worrying about whether or not it's a stem changer or an irregular Joe or any of the things that we've been working on, you can just plug that infinitive right in and it's going to work. And so that's pretty neat. And so let's have a look at how this works in terms of the structure of it. All right. And so first and foremost, you're using the verb ir, which means to go, right? That's where you're getting that from. And so you would use the verb ir. You would conjugate the verb ir to be more specific. And then you would use the letter a, right? That's what that stands for. And then again, you would use the infinitive. And so here are the conjugations of the verb ir, right? And I want to run through them with you all just so you know what they are. And so we have yo voy, tú vas, usted, él, ella, va, right? Nosotros vamos, vosotros vais, ustedes, ellos, ellas, van. All right, so I'll run through those again without the subject pronoun. So, voy, vas, va, vamos, vais, van. And so this is the conjugations of your verb ir. And I want to be specific or clear on this. All you have to conjugate is that verb. And so you take this conjugation, agreeing with the subject, of course. You use the letter a, right? And so you would put a between the conjugation of ir and then the infinitive. So that's why we call it ir más a más infinitivo, or ir plus a plus infinitive. And so that a kind of squeezes itself in between those, the conjugation of ir and the infinitive. And again, in the narrative section below, I've got some extra practice for you guys and other links to help further explain this, but I think it's pretty simple and pretty straightforward overall. Again, just as a quick, to reiterate to you guys, it's the verb ir, which means to go. These are the conjugations, and then you pair it with the letter a, and then you follow that with an infinitive. So we're going to take a look at some examples, and hopefully this will be enough to help you understand how this works. Now, I will say this. A common mistake for people that are learning this for the first time, because you've been conditioned to conjugate everything, is to not conjugate, or to conjugate this and not leave it in the infinitive. And I'll show you what I'm talking about when we get to the examples, but that's a common mistake that new language learners learn when they, or new language learners do when they're first learning this ir más a más infinitivo combination. And so again, it's a great way to allude to the future, and we'll take a look at these here, and I'll also translate them for you guys, so you'll get a sense of how it works. And so, if you'll see here, we've got 5 examples. So number 1 is mañana yo, and then we're going to fill in the blank, al parque. And so what we want to say is mañana yo, I am going to go to the park. And so that's what we're going to fill in here. And yes, you can use ir conjugated and ir as an infinitive. I'm sorry. You can use ir conjugated and ir as an infinitive. That works. That means going to go, or I am going to go, as opposed to just saying voy al parque, which is I go to the park, right? Or I'm going to the park. And so that's your slight difference there. But yes, it's totally fine to use conjugation of ir, the letter a, and then again the infinitive of ir. And let me show you what that's going to do. Mañana yo voy, right? Because we have our yo conjugation. Yo voy a ir al parque. And now that means tomorrow I'm going to go to the park. And right, notice we have a plus el, right? Because this is a masculine singular noun and its article is el. And so when you have the a and the l, we combine those and get al. So let's move on to number 2. El lunes, on Monday, right? And that's how we say on Monday, el lunes. To, and we have asistir. So on Monday, you're going to attend Spanish class, right? And so let's take a look at that. So el lunes tú vas, right? Because that's our conjugation for to. And then we put our a there, and then we put our infinitive, right? Tú vas a asistir a la clase de español. And this a is here because you say asistir a, just in any circumstance. So you wouldn't just say asistir la clase de español, you would say asistir a la clase de español, right? And so that has nothing to do with this over here. It's just how asistir works as a verb. And so, good. So let's take a look at number 3. El año que viene, nosotros. Now, this is saying this coming year, we are going to move. And I notice I have a reflexive pronoun here. I threw that in there just to mix it up a little bit and show you guys how that works. So we're gonna have 2 ways of doing this actually. And I'm gonna do an A and a B. And so we have el año que viene nosotros, of course, vamos, right? Because that's for nosotros. You see it right here. Vamos a mudarnos, right? Notice we plug that, we attach that pronoun to the end of the infinitive. That's one of the places we can put infinitives, as you guys remember, right? So, vamos a mudarnos a Miami. Now, there's the other way of doing it where we plug the, we put the reflexive pronoun or pronoun for that matter at the beginning, before the conjugated verb. So we're going to take a look at that one too. So, el año que viene nosotros nos, right? That's your pronoun. Vamos a mudar a Miami. Either way is totally fine. But I wanted to show you how that works, how a pronoun can work with this as well. And so hopefully that was helpful. Number 4, we have esta noche, so tonight, ustedes, and then we have mirar una película. So tonight, you all are going to watch a movie, right? And so let's take a look at that. Esta noche, ustedes van a mirar una película. It's as simple as that, right? And so we have ustedes, right? And of course, agreeing with that is van, which, as you can see right here, that's the one that matches. It's its conjugation. And then again, we have a, and then mirar as the infinitive. And then of course, we're just being more specific with what we're watching, and that's una película. So again, I'll pause and say that a common mistake for, as you guys are beginning to learn this, because again, as I've already said, you're so conditioned to conjugate everything up until this point. A common mistake would be to say, van a miran, for example, right? Because you're like, okay, I know the subject pronoun is ustedes, and Jason has already taught me how to do mirar for ustedes, and I know that's miran. And now I'm learning how to do ir for ustedes. And so you have this tendency, and again, very, very common mistake. And so I wanted to address it. You would think you're doing it right by saying van a miran. And that's not right? And I want to be clear about that. And again, while you have been sort of conditioned thus far to conjugate verbs, this, to bring you back to the top, is ir plus a plus infinitive. So again, just to reiterate, that is why we say mira. That is why we keep that infinitive there. Because you're saying, in this case, you all are going to watch, right? You all are going to watch. So that to watch, or to attend, or to go, or to move, that's your infinitive, right? That's what it works, in much of the same way in English with that. And so let's look at the last one and bring this to a close. Más tarde, so later on, más tarde, él estudiar por el examen. Más tarde, later on, he is going to study for the exam. So let's finish this off. So el, right? So our conjugation for el is right here. So we would say va plus the letter A, of course, and then we would use our infinitive, estudiar. So your sentence would be, más tarde, él va a estudiar por el examen, right? And so hopefully this all made sense to you guys. Again, short lesson, but a really amazing way of, especially in the early stages of learning the language, to allude to the future, because you're talking about what you're going to do. And so hopefully these examples were helpful. Also you had a bit of a reminder in terms of how to use pronouns, in this case a reflexive pronoun, if there's an infinitive involved. In other words, attaching it to the infinitive. Or in letter B's option, putting it before the conjugated verb. So anyways, hopefully all this was helpful, and really being able to talk about the future, allude to the future. So again, hopefully this was helpful for you guys, and yeah, that's it.